Howdy, folks. Welcome to Thursday's Thoughts. My name is Kenneth Thomas, and on Thursdays, I like to give you folks a little bit of a glimpse into how things work up here and share thoughts on different subjects. And I'm sure a lot of y'all saw the title for today, and we're wondering, what the heck is he going on about this time? Well, basically, I wanted to talk about how some folks are basically full of crap. I look around the world. I look around what's going on. You got the conflict in Eastern Europe. You got all the nut job stuff that's going on everywhere. Everywhere you look around the world, you see crumbling infrastructure. You see people that have lack of access to decent health care. You see people who have struggles just to have food, while other food is just getting wasted. There's supply chain issues all around the globe. And every time I look around, left and right, all I see is people pointing fingers going, well, it's your fault. It's their fault. You know what? I'm just tired of it. Everybody's full of freaking crap by sitting there saying it's everybody else's fault. You know what? It took a whole lot of people collectively to get into the mess that we're in a lot of ways. All right. And I could sit there and look at a lot of things where I'm going like, this is totally, I'm sorry for my camera shaking. Okay. I've got a cat that doesn't want to stay off my desk right now, and she's trying to rub up against the monitor. And of course, my camera's mounted on the monitor, but squirrel, I hate that. Gotta love live. If I was doing this as a recording, I'd just start over. But anyway, I'm sick and tired of seeing everybody wanting to point fingers, and nobody wants to work toward solutions. Now, I'm not saying nobody when I mean literally nobody. That's not what I mean, because I have heard people with sound advice. I have heard people with thoughtful insight into where we go from here. Now sitting and pointing the fingers and trying to blame whoever or whatever for how we got where we are is pretty much pointless in my mind. It's just crap. Because blaming doesn't solve a damn thing. All right? Identifying what is wrong and identifying the causes of what is wrong, that can be constructive. And I say can be, because, if all you're going to do is do that and then go, okay, this tells me who to blame. Okay, you're full of crap and you're part of the freaking problem. We need to identify what's going on realistically, meaning we need hard data. We need to look at what's going on in reality, not what we want to see, not from this point of view or that point of view. It's a matter of seeing what's really going on, because if you don't accurately diagnose the situation, you can't fix it. All right? So to fix it, we need to look at the reality of the situation, and then we need to figure out where we go from here. And where we go from here is a hell of a lot more important than how we got here. Because you know what? We can sit here and blame each other and everybody and point fingers all damn day. It's not doing any good, because all we're doing is standing in the same freaking spot. And instead of moving somewhere, instead of going forward and working solutions, we're sitting here looking at the past going, it's his fault, her fault, their fault. It's not my fault. That's the one thing you can almost always guarantee, is it's never their fault. It's always somebody else's fault. I don't give a damn whose fault it is. We need to look at the reality of the situation and figure out where we go from here. We need to be looking forward. We need to be looking for solutions. We need to be looking for people we can work with on certain issues. I don't care if you agree with these people on everything. It doesn't matter. We can all agree we need to fix the bridges in this country, right? We can all agree that we need to take care of certain things, right? So let's fix that one issue and then move on to the next thing we agree on. Let's leave all this stuff that we can't agree on because there's such fundamental differences. And I'm not saying they're not important subjects, okay? But let's face it. You're not going to change somebody's mind easily or even realistically on something that is a fundamentally held belief, okay? So that stuff can just fuck off, all right? We don't need to worry about that. We need to worry about the stuff that we can all agree is a common problem. We need to agree with about the things that we know we can work together and make progress on. That's what's important. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about, oh, I don't agree with you on this one issue, but yeah, we both agree hungry people need to be fed, okay? So let's leave that other one alone for a little bit here. You know, that's a hot button, but let's get the hungry people fed. All right? And you know, we can agree that people need to have reasonable access to health care. So, yeah, okay. I'm not saying I know the answer to this one. I don't. But I know that it shouldn't mean you have to mortgage your life just to pay to go to a doctor. And I also know that it's fundamentally true that an ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure. I think Ben had it a little bit smaller in his thing. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. But you know what? Let's work on the prevention stuff, okay? If you don't want to cover everybody's surgery bills and all these other things, and you don't want to cover, because I don't agree with that, okay, that's fine. But can we agree that we need to make sure that people need to have access to preventative medicine? We seem to think it was a good idea when it came to the pandemic. It's like, we're not going to try to charge you for this. We just want you to get the damn vaccinations. So why don't we all agreed it was a good thing. And look, we made it happen. Now, not everybody went out and got a vaccine, but anybody who wanted to could go out and get it, and they didn't have to worry about nothing coming out of their pocket. So that tells me that it is possible for us, even if we can't agree on this other stuff or this other stuff, we can work toward the common good if we choose to do it. So stop being people full of crap who want to make every single thing about one little bitty issue. Now, I'm not saying these little bitty issues can't be important and they're not fundamental to who you are, because you know what? There's a lot of issues that are fundamental to who I am. There's a lot of things that I will stand up for and I will fight for. But you know what? That isn't going to keep me from deciding to work with someone else to make something else better. Okay? So I may not agree with this issue over here, and folks, I could give you all kinds of examples, but you know what? I'm not trying to be political here. Okay? I am not trying to be political. What I am doing is I'm trying to explain why I get so frustrated sometimes. All right? So, not wanting to get political, I don't want to use an issue. So, let's just say issue A is something that is extremely fundamental to this group of people over here, okay? And issue B is something that's the opposite viewpoint to issue A, okay? So, these people, A and B, these A and B groups, they're never going to really come to an agreement on that subject. And they're going to fight over it all the time. Got it. All right? Got it. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Because if it's something that you feel that strongly about, you should. But just because you guys are fighting over this A-B issue over here doesn't mean that you don't sit there and go, well, you know, Maybe we should find some money to repair these bridges so people don't die when they collapse. That should be a no-brainer. And if it isn't to you, then you're full of crap. All right? Holding something hostage, like making sure that infrastructure is taken care of, making sure that things are safe for people, making sure that people have access to food and access to healthcare, that should never be held hostage to this AB issue. Okay? We can argue AB all you want, and I'll be happy to do it with you. But you know what? That doesn't mean we shouldn't work together. I remember when I was younger, you could see people reach across the political aisle. You'd see the conservatives and the liberals, the Republicans and the Democrats, the moderates on both sides. You'd see these people reaching across the aisle and getting stuff done. We need to be willing to work with people we have fundamental disagreements on, okay? Because if we don't work with people, even if we have fundamental differences of opinion on some key issues, if we don't work for the common good stuff and we hog tie everything else to these one or two hot button issues that we know is just going to polarize everybody, you know, go jump off a freaking cliff, all right? Because we don't need your crap. And I am willing to sit and discuss and learn and try to understand your viewpoints on those AB issues, okay? Because I believe that is important to understand where you're coming from. And I also believe that it is important for you to understand where I'm coming from on those kind of issues. Because then we can start to understand where our fundamental disagreements are, but we can also respect where we're coming from and where the other person is coming from. All right? That is one of the things that I think is a fundamental bedrock of democracy. But the fact that both major political parties in this country, and I see a lot of it happening in countries like our neighbors to the north, people are willing to hogtie everything else that needs to be done to these hot button issues. Well, I'm not going to do anything about this environmental stuff if you're not going to do this thing over here about that. Well, you know, let me face it, environmental concerns might be one of those hot button issues for some people. To me, not getting into climate science, but let's agree that pollution's bad, you know, and toxic waste is bad. So, you know, you see a situation where something happens like what happened in Flint, Michigan, where you end up lead contaminated water. Okay, yeah. Do we need to figure out how it happened and punish those responsible? Yeah, well, I think that's probably a decent thing and a good concept. I'm not going to point fingers. I'm not going to say, yes, a friend of mine, Rita, she says that your word should be like a written contract. I absolutely agree with that. Now, I do believe in holding people accountable for things that happen where there's like obvious some kind of negligence. And yeah, okay. So they still haven't figured out. Everybody's been pointing fingers on how it got there. You're right. Now, you're full of crap if you're not working to try to fix it first. Assign blame second. The house is on fire. Well, let's argue while we're standing in the house about who was playing with matches and where while the house burns down. You know, go to hell. Because if you're going to argue about blaming people for things, but you're not going to sit and argue and fight for the solutions that'll make it better, you're full of crap. And I'm tired of your crap. That's just one issue. You can go to almost any municipality, any major city in this United States, and I'm sure it's true in a lot of other countries. You can go in there and you can see people where there's something going, hey, this is obviously something that's broke. It needs to get fixed. And people will be more concerned about figuring out who to blame for it being broken than worrying about, okay, let's fix it. So folks, let's work together to fix it. All right? Let's work together to fix it. And if you're really concerned because you think this is something that is a negligent issue, like what happened in Flint or what happened someplace else where some people died, people got sick, loss of life, limb, and eyesight, okay, yeah, we need to find out who's responsible for that. But that is a secondary concern to fixing it. Because if you're worrying about blaming and who to blame and all this other crap, people are still getting sick. People would still be getting injured. The problem hasn't changed. People know about it. They might be able to take some mitigation things to try to prevent it from being continuing to be a problem, but you're not fixing it. So we need to work together to fix the problems in the world. All right. We really do. And if you and I want to have fundamental political differences on things and we want to discuss that and debate that and argue about it, hey, I'm all for it. But understand with me, debate is meant to be an exchange of ideas. And I'm not trying to change your mind as much as I'm trying to have you understand my point of view. And I want you to try to help me understand your point of view. That is the purpose of debate. Because if you and I start to understand each other's point of view, we might be able to sit there and go, okay, I see where you're coming from on this and I agree. But if all we're doing is yelling crap ideas and crap slogans at each other, you ain't fixing anything. You want to walk around wearing a hat that shows you support so-and-so or you support such and such, you know what? That's awesome. I'm happy for you. And I don't care. What are you doing to help fix the things that need to be fixed? Normally, I don't get off on these rants, but I just seen a little too much crap where everybody is pointing fingers. And I'm looking at stuff that happened 5, 10 years ago, and they still haven't fixed it because everybody's more interested in blaming anybody than coming up with a damn solution. So that's my rant for today. And I would like to say thank you to Rita for joining me. This is not the first time Miss Rita has heard me go off on a rant. Miss Rita has known me, going on 15 years now. And yeah, she's seen me when I've gotten really hot under the collar about some things. And but she also knows that I am passionate about things. But she also knows that I genuinely care. And that's the one thing I want y'all to understand. I care. And one of the reasons I get so angry is because I care. You know what? I may not like you. I may not like what you stand for. But that doesn't mean you're not a human being. That doesn't mean you're not worthy of respect. And that doesn't mean that I shouldn't care. If you've actually pushed me to the point where I don't give a damn about you one way or another, you had to work for it. You really had to work to convince me that you were absolutely nothing. Most people aren't like that. And if we can get aside from screaming slogans at each other, we'll start to realize we have a lot more in common than we do. We have a lot more in common than we realize. And that common ground is where we need to work. Because in working on that common ground, maybe these things that are the hot button issues might be able to be solved or at least understood. So that's pretty much what I had for you today. I have no clue what we're doing for Foodie Friday, but please join my wife and I tomorrow for Hama's Foodie Friday. at 4 p.m. Central. And you guys have a great day. And yeah, if you're catching this on Facebook, really hope you follow. And that'll let you know when I'm doing my live videos. And, if you're seeing this on my YouTube channel, please subscribe. And let me know if you've got topics that you'd like to hear my opinion on. I'm not promising you that I will. Because some things, are just a little too much of a hot button issue. And I don't think they're necessarily appropriate for a public forum like this. But if you want my take on different issues or different ideas, by all means, let me know. Send me a message. You can find more information about me by going to solo.to/KWHamas. And that'll also let you see my latest videos, my latest live streams. So until next time, folks, peace, love, and photography. And remember, everything can make a beautiful image, including you. Have a great afternoon. Bye.